in this midweek, in this moment now, in this month of January, when a whole new year is opening up before us, where are we? Where are we right now? What is every new day to you? Is it just another day? Is it just another day of the same old, the same day that maybe something good will happen in? Maybe I'll feel good today. Maybe today will be different. What is this day to you? What is this day to me? What is this time factor all about? With every breath, a second passes. Now, how am I passing those moments? How are you passing those moments? What's going on as the day unfolds? How many changes occur in you as the day unfolds? As the timetable changes? How do you change? These are questions I often ask myself. That's why it's important to tune in and find out how I'm doing in my mind, because that governs everything. And I've said it before, it's a very wonderful thing at the end of every task you take on to pause for a moment and just check in and see, how am I doing? Where am I right now? Am I absolutely caught up in the busyness of the embodiment, or is there something more happening? Is there something more going on? Now, I trust that we have not put away our endeavor to be the most giving and caring self of ourselves with all of the holiday and Christmas decorations. I'm trusting that has not happened. I'm trusting the same vim and vigor and verve that we all had in our endeavor to make sure that as many people as possible could have a better experience of what it is to be in a holiday period, to have some kind of a little sense of celebration. And it was incredible to watch everybody, observe everybody, feel everybody's energy, just honing in on, how can I help? Is there somebody in great need? Do you know somebody who's desperately in need of something? And if so, can I help? I love that energy at the holiday season, especially around the winter solstice, because that's when most people seem to come alive again with an understanding and with awareness that we all belong to each other and that we're here for one thing and one thing alone, and that is to serve, to make a difference, to take care of something. And rather than us feeling, how can I help and want to be a helper, let's start thinking about, how can I serve and be a server? There is a difference, actually. Help seems to be something that's here and there and happens now and then, or I'm aware of it now and then. But to be a helper is one thing, but to be a server is to be in service every moment of every day. Now, that's not to say I'm talking about being a servant. I'm not. I'm talking about one who serves the greatest good, the greatest good. Now, in this month, we focus deeply on the basic fundamental principles of science of mind and spirit. And we look at the principles again, the foundational principles of the science. Well, of course, it's not just the foundational principles of the science of mind and spirit. It's ancient, fundamental wisdom followed throughout the ages that we're talking about. Like the golden rule, don't do unto anybody else what you would not have anybody else do unto you, or do unto another as you would have another do unto you. In other words, treat people the way you would like to be treated by them. And that's a key concept in spiritual teaching across the board. And it's backed up with the understanding, because as I am, so too the world reflects back to me and treats me. So if I'm out there grabbing and getting and not caring about anything or anyone, you know what? The world is not going to care about you or me either. And the world will be grabbing from you and me as well. Because what I put out is what comes back. And it's all created in consciousness, in mind. As my mind thinks it, so it is. That can be a horrible realization at times, and can be a very liberating one at other times. If it's going to be, the old cliche we say all the time here, if it's going to be, it's up to me. If I want people to treat me well, I must treat people well, because what goes out comes back. This is a hall of mirrors. What I'm reflecting out there reflects right back at me. That's what the world is, three-dimensional planet Earth, a hall of mirrors. I'm always looking into myself, and myself is always looking back at me, no matter where I am, with whom I am, and what's going on. That's the way it is. Why? Because we do all belong to each other, and we come from the same source, and we're of the same substance, and we're made of the very same thing. And because of that, we're all interconnected, interrelated. We all have the same spiritual DNA. We're all of the one family of spiritual DNA. So there's no them, there's no us, there's no he, there's no she. There's we and the one. So it behooves us well at the beginning of the year to get our minds straight, so that we can indeed slough off all the stuff that has not been serving us until now. All the old, tired, erroneous thinking and feeling. Slough it off. Shed it like a skin. And start to think anew, differently. To be different, I need to think differently. To have life change, I need to change my thinking. And when I change my thinking, I change my feeling. And when I change my thinking and my feeling, I'm loaded with energy and motivated to act and move upon it. Because I'm clear. I'm getting clarity. I've taken away all the blocks that stop me. The way is made straight before me, and I can see a way ahead, and I want to get ahead, so I move upon it. I can move through this now because all the obstacles are gone. You know, you and I are amazingly, infinitely unique, incredibly awesome in our uniqueness, and one of a kind. Now, there is that on the spiritual side of life and its understanding. But then on the human side of life, there is the ego that tells us, well, you know, you don't measure up and you're not enough, you never were. And what makes you think you ever will be? And most of us, as you have seen for yourself and discovered in the world today, are ego-driven. And the ego is always fighting for its life. It always wants to be Lord and Master over everything. And it fights for that place. But egotism has nothing to do with spirituality. The ego, yes, but not egotism. Not self-centeredness in that way. Self-awareness is what we're looking for, not self-centeredness. I don't want to be absorbed by my own little small self, my egoic self, taken over and enslaved to it, and neither do you. I want to be free to express the greatness, the fullness, the beauty, the joy, the life, the light, the love, the peace, the beauty, the power, the goodness, the kindness, the compassion, the wisdom, the knowledge, the understanding that is mine to express. Now, when I can do all of that, why am I settling for the morass, the mess of small-mindedness, self-absorption, and a thinking that the world owes me and everybody else around too. It never fails me to stump me when I'm aware of that, and certainly when my own ego is running away with me, I tell you. Well, it's time to brush yourself off and start all over again, isn't it, when that happens? This is a book, The Magic of the Soul, Applying Spiritual Power to Daily Living by Patrick Harbula. It's a good book. It's an inspiring book. And when I opened this book today, so that I won't be losing pages and things like that, I just copied a page. And it was one little paragraph that caught my eye, just one little paragraph. And the little paragraph, believe it or not, well, two paragraphs. Practice recognizing the essential sameness that you have with others is the invitation. In doing so, you will likely experience the magic of your soul working not only to help you evolve, but to help others evolve. From the perspective of the soul, we are all one reflection of spirit seeking to expand itself. No one is better than anybody else. No one is better than anybody else. No one is better than anybody else. I hope we're understanding that more these days. Jesus Christ and other great examples to humanity recognized their divine nature, yet never indicated in any way that they were better than anyone else. None of the spiritual masters did. You'll never find a spiritual master engaging in debate or argumentation. What they do is share a message, and they listen a lot. They don't feel the need to debate. They don't feel the need to argue. They know what they know. And they don't get involved in all of that crazy stuff. Because it turns out that most debates and most arguments are based on one thing alone. You're wrong, I'm right. And I'm out to win this argument or debate. So the less debating and arguing, the better. And the more sharing of a belief, a message, and then the listening to the other person's message and belief, and endeavoring to find a common thread in there somewhere. That's communication. And when we get good at communication, eventually it leads to communion. And communion is no need to deliberate over differences. Communion means I see the sameness, I feel the oneness, I feel the connection. It is true namaste. In communion, I see the light in you reflected back to me. And words are not necessary in communion. There's a sensation, a feeling that's electrifying. And words don't describe that kind of thing. There is that sense of bonding, recognition. There's a sense of recognition. I see you. And more than that, I feel your essence. That's communion. Now, it's a long way, of course, from debating and arguing to communion, or so it seems. But truly, it can happen like that. The light bulb can go on just like that. But I have to be open to it, and I have to work for it. Now, here's a lovely word: humility. Humility is a word that describes the personality, recognizing it is not superior. Humility knows that we're all one. Humility knows that we're all of equal value, and nobody has anything more than anybody else in the essential world of awareness and knowledge and being. There's a song that goes, now Jesus said we must love one another, pass it on. Jesus said, call all people your brother, your sister. Come to the one. Learn to love and pass it on. Brothers and sisters are we unto each other. And even more when we get the spiritual connection. True humbleness is the experience of being one with all life, whether inanimate or alive. Actually, all matter, he says, is alive. In other words, all matter has an energy in it, all of it. True soul awareness recognizes the balance or inclusiveness between our divine greatness and the humbleness of our equally wondrous humanity. And with everything that exists. If Jesus or Buddha recognized that they were no better than you or me, how could we possibly think that we are any better than anybody else? And yet we do, all the time we do it. Knowingly or unknowingly. Everyone is in a state of growing, and as we grow individually, we help to raise the quality of growth in all those with whom we are in relationship to some degree. And it goes on. It's a good book. It's a good piece. The Magic of the Soul. Humility. Most people don't understand humility. It's a very powerful and strong virtue. Only the strong can be, indeed, or can walk this world humbly. And the scripture says, this is what Yahweh, God, the One, this is what Yahweh asks of you, only this, that you act justly, that you love tenderly, and that you walk humbly with your God. Look out into the world and see how many people will fit that picture at the moment. You'll see most people who don't fit the picture when you look out into the world, but mark my words, there are people in the world that fit that picture, and they are unseen, unrecognized, but they are there. They do walk humbly with their God. They do act justly, and they do love tenderly. And that's what's keeping us all going. Now, which group are we amongst or in most of the time? The egoic-driven group or the soul-centered group? Most of the time is the question. It's the beginning of the year. It's still January. If we haven't pulled our wits about us and pulled ourselves together yet, let's do it. Let's get straight in our consciousness. What we want to think, what we want to feel, and who we want to be this year. And never mind the year, because the year is lived day by day, one day at a time, 1 minute at a time, sometimes. The world is crying out for human kindness at the moment. And that's not what it's getting. The world is crying to you to show human kindness. Rachel still weeps for her children. So, my dear ones, all you can do and all I can do is what I can do in my own life, what I can do right here and what I can do right now. Let it be good. Let it be uplifting. Let it be serving the good, the whole good. Let it be free from influences of anger and aggression. That's not who you are. That's not who any of us happens to be. So if you say again, there's not much I can do, I'm just one person, just shake yourself and snap out of it. There's everything you can do. And the doing is you being the best of yourself, me being the best of myself, and bringing human kindness and divine love to myself, to all around me, to the world. That's how it heals. That's how we mend, and that's how we fix. And that's how we renew ourselves and create a world that works for all of life, but most especially a world where our children, our little children, can grow up feeling safe and secure and with confidence that they're going to grow up and be a very real and present help in keeping the world unified together, to be leaders, the next leaders, be filled with that sense of their own self-fullness. That's a world well worth working toward. And you and I are the ones that have to do this. No one else. No one else. And the children deserve it. Each and every child deserves to live a charmed life, not just a few. So, my dear ones, I want to thank you so very sincerely for every endeavor you make to keep your mind clear, your heart sound, and your life open to making a difference every day in some way. To begin with small ways, turn into medium ways, and then into great ways. Because energy gathers around a nucleus. The nucleus is your new idea, your new commitment. That's the nucleus. And then the more you support your idea, the more the energy around your nucleus expands. And then when it expands sufficiently, it sucks into it similar energies from all over. And then the power keeps expanding and expanding and expanding. And life gets better and better and better and better for everyone. You are a kingpin in all of this. And never forget that. You are huge, the part that you have to play in all of this. Never forget it. Because you are what we need right now. Yes, you. Doesn't matter what's going on in your life. Doesn't matter how messed up you think it is. It doesn't matter how little you think of yourself and how small you keep yourself thinking. The truth is, the world is depending upon you because you're great and you're mighty, because of that which dwells within you being greater than that which is in the world, any circumstance, situation, person, place, or thing. This is what we come together to remind ourselves of and to know. So I'm knowing for you for the rest of this day, it's going to be light, and it's going to be inspired, and it's going to be energetic. And you're going to find yourself in it and feel good about yourself in it, and as a consequence, raise up the energy in everything. That's the truth. And I'm leaving it with you right now before we give thanks for all that we have to share from, beginning with ourselves, our own minds and hearts. And so we take our gift between our blessing hands, or we ponder it within our hearts and we say, divine love consecrates my gift. It goes forth to heal, to bless, and to prosper all those who give and all those who receive. I rejoice in the sharing of my good and I release my gift with love, and so it is. So until we meet again, my dear ones, stay connected. Stay connected every which way you can. And thank you for all you're doing in support of this community, our spiritual community, our spiritual home. Thank you. Because together we are mighty, and together we are implementing great good things in the world. So as you sleep, know when you're falling asleep, because I'm part of that community, great good stuff is happening out there and in here too. So thank you so very, very much. Keep up the good thinking, keep up the good feeling, and then life will always feel like the blessing that it is. So for you and yours, may peace prevail within you. May love always fill you, and may wisdom always guide you. And so I will leave you in the farewell of the children, especially my own little kinder, Ryan and Isla. Mwah, mwah, mwah. And so it is.